It's Phil Thatch, and I'm here today at Frost Stadium, where the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga plays softball, and I'm going to photograph at least one and maybe two softball games today. And Heather, what am I going to shoot with?
You've got the Canon R6. Here's the 100 to 500. In the bag, we have the 70 to 200 f2.8, and we gonna have fun.
Yep, I've got my teleconverter too, in case I want to try to shoot 700 millimeters of the batters from the outfield. So let's get started. I used the 70 to 200 for the entire first inning. All right, here we are, game one at Frost Stadium. I started out using the 70 to 200 f2.8, and here are the UTC Mox softball players as the national anthem is playing. And now we are playing softball. There's the first baseman. She has caught the ball and is getting number 99 out as she's running to first base. And look, at f2.8, I'm at ISO 125 and 1/8,000th of a second. You can see all the settings up here. All of these shots are with the Canon R6. Here is another 1/8,000th of a second shot at f2.8 as this batter has just hit this ball. I love the C for University of Tennessee at Chattanooga on the softballs. Very cool. Here she is. I think that's rounding second base, number 5. And sliding into third for a triple. And as you can see, the only thing I didn't like about this shot, this ball, because I'm at 1/8,000th, it looks like it's not moving at all. It looks like it's just laying there, but actually it's bouncing and just about to go to the third baseman. In this situation, it might have been better to have a slightly slower shutter speed. Still using the 70 to 200. Here is a 92 millimeter shot of number 5, who has now made her way all the way home to score for Chattanooga. Here's a batter bunting for Chattanooga. Another batter. Now here is a play at first base. I like the way this shot turned out. I've got softball on the fence in the outfield kind of centered above the shot, and you can see the ball has not made it to the first baseman's glove, and the Chattanooga runner is almost on first base, so she ended up being safe on that one. And then I switched to the 100 to 500 for the rest of the game. All right, now I have switched to the 100 to 500, and the reason I switched, there was plenty of light, and I wanted to be able to zoom and maybe catch some activities in the outfield. So the 200 millimeter lens couldn't do that, but the 500 could. So we'll see if I get anything. Here's another of the opposing team's players out at first base. And here is our pitcher. I sat in one seat kind of directly behind home plate. And as I made photographs of the pitcher, the Chattanooga sign on the outfield fence was not centered. So I moved over about 2 or 3 chairs to the right, and I was able to shoot the pitcher with the Chattanooga sign perfectly centered. So I thought that turned out pretty cool. Here's one of our left-handed batters. Almost have bat on ball freezing there. It's actually just a little bit off. That's kind of what you shoot for sometimes, is to have the bat and the ball connecting. There's number 5 again, hitting the ball. And she hit a home run on that one. This shot right here is a home run shot. And here she is coming in and scoring. And the rest of the team is celebrating, and they continue to celebrate. It's a big deal when one of these girls gets a home run. There is the first baseman. She is about to catch that ball, and you can see the C on the ball really well in this shot, and the runner is not even close to first base, so the runner is going to be out. There's number 8 hitting the ball hard. Here's another batter hitting the ball as well, and another one. I do most of my photos when the team I'm photographing is batting. I do most of the photos of the batter, and then I try to catch activity going on in the field. There's number 5 walloping the ball again, and number 27 sliding into home. And I don't see the ball anywhere in the shot, so it looks like she is going to be safe. Here is another batter batting, and this field has a nice net to protect the spectators, and instead of a fence, this net is easy to shoot through. A lot of these shots, most of these shots, are through the net, and you can't see the net at all. If you get back a few feet from the net, then you can start to see it, but I was somewhere between 8 inches and a foot from it, the tip of my lens. This is the second baseman. She's run out into the outfield and caught this ball. There's the right fielder coming in, but it was the second baseman who ended up catching it. And this is a 500 millimeter shot. So this shot I could not have made with the 70 to 200. So that's why I switched to the 100 to 500 lens. Here is a relief pitcher that came in. She made a few pitches. And here is number 3 out at first base. And on this shot, I went all the way into the outfield. I put my 1.4 teleconverter on. So this is a 700 millimeter shot from the outfield. And it is F10, which is wide open with the 1.4 teleconverter. And of course, at F10, I had to slow down my shutter speed to 1/2000th, and I raised my ISO to 800. I shot 100% manual for all of these shots. No auto ISO on these. Do I still have? Yes, I haven't taken the teleconverter off yet, but I'm only at 508 millimeters on this shot. And now I have taken the teleconverter back off, and I'm back in the infield photographing the pitcher. Here's another batter out at first. You can see the ball has already made it to the first baseman's glove as the runner is running towards first base. I guess number 9 is the second baseman. She's fielded this ball, is throwing it to the first baseman, and the runner hasn't made it there, so they are out. Here's another pitcher shot. And here is our number 2, Chattanooga's number 2, safe at first base. Here's another batter who's hitting. And number 27 is sliding into home. Pretty sure she's safe. Here is another pitcher with the Chattanooga sign in the background. This girl, they say, I photographed this on a Sunday, and they say that this girl pitched a game on Friday, and she pitched a perfect game. There is one of their players out at first. And here's one of our players safe at first. I wish I hadn't cut the top of this off, but there's no ball in that glove, and I think the ball had flown over. So it was a fielding error. Here's a batter and a pitcher. I like this shot because it's got the runner on base. And even though that lens, like on this shot, it's f5, it still has nice out of focus qualities. It's not, there is separation between the subject and the background with that lens. Not as much as the 2.8 lens, but still plenty. And this is the last out of the first game. This girl would go ahead and catch that ball, and UTC ended up winning this game. Now let's work on the second game. All right, now we're starting the second game, and I photographed this entire game with the 100 to 500. I never used the 70 to 200, and I never put the teleconverter on. There is someone who is out at first base. It was a doubleheader. We played 2 different teams. Chattanooga played in both games, and there were 2 other teams, and both of them got beat. Spoiler alert. I think number 9 is the second baseman who has come over to cover first, and I think she was about to throw the ball over to third. I don't think the girl got out at third base. There's the pitcher again with a runner on second behind her taking off. You can see dirt flying up, and I always love when the C on the softball is in the shot. And here is, I think that's the first baseman catching this ball like a pop fly. And as you can see, I'm shooting manual, and you don't need 100 ISO to have clean shots. So I bump my ISO up to 400 sometimes, and 800 sometimes, and 320 sometimes, so I could get more shutter speed to try to freeze the action. There's one of their players catching a ball. Pretty cool. And here is another Chattanooga pitcher about to sling that thing in there. And that's a catcher. I was on the third base line when there was a pop-up, and Chattanooga's catcher caught the ball, but I was in a position where I could not photograph home plate without cutting off her foot behind the top of the dugout. But I still like the picture enough to share that one, even though it would be better if her foot wasn't cut off. There is Purdue Fort Wayne's first baseman catching the ball. And here's one of our batters who has successfully gotten on first base, doing a little fist bump with the coach. I thought that was cool. And look at this. She's about to slide into third base, and I caught her completely off the ground in this 114 millimeter shot. Here's one of our left-handed batters. The sun in the second game moved around to where I had fairly good, not perfect, but fairly good sun angle on the left-handed batters. In the first game, I had bad sun angle on the left-handed batters. There's another lefty. I believe that is the second baseman, again covering first in this shot. There's number 16 hitting the ball. There is one. This is kind of what you look for. If you can catch the ball right on the bat, you can catch the compression and see where the ball gets shaped weird for a second, and the bat gets a little bit out of shape when they're actually making contact. This is a 1/3200th of a second shot, as you can see up here. 343 millimeters. On these, I went back further, kind of got down on my knees and shot over the dugout, and I wasn't shooting through a fence for some of these. Some of the ones in the first game, most of the ones in the first game, I was shooting through the net. And you can see the net in the background here, what I was shooting through in some of the earlier shots. I like this shot because she's walloped the ball, and even at 1/3200th, there's motion blur, and you can see the dust coming off of the bat. The only thing I didn't like about it was, I think this is the first base coach. His shoulder is in the shot, but this, I'm pretty sure this shot, this hit was a home run, and this is later in the swing, and look, she's going, rah! And she has walloped that ball, and you can see, here she is coming from third, going home for her home run, and you can see the team celebrating in the background. That's a kind of a cool series of 3 shots. There she is hitting the ball, and she knows it's out of here already, I think. And she's pretty happy about her home run, and so is everybody else. And here is the first baseman about to get somebody out. Here's another left-handed batter and another left-handed batter. I can't remember if they called this girl out or safe. I think they may have called her out at second base. And here's one of our girls sliding into third, and she's definitely safe. The ball's not even in the frame. Barely caught this one. If they hit the ball and the ball's not in the frame, I don't use the picture. So this one barely made the grade. And the light was kind of changing. There weren't many clouds, but there were some small ones. And every once in a while, I would change my ISO or my shutter speed, trying to keep the exposure about right. Another left-handed batter, and you can see the light's getting better and better on the left-handed batters. Where at the beginning of the first game, the light was better on the right-handed batters. And there is the pitcher. This girl came in. She's the one that had the perfect game earlier in the weekend, and she came in as a relief pitcher in both games. Another left-handed batter, and this girl is definitely safe at first base. And there's another left-handed batter, this time bunting, and a right-handed batter, and another one. There is the pitcher again. She could really throw that ball hard, barely into the outfield to catch this pop fly. And Chattanooga wins. Let's celebrate.
It was a lot of fun, and the Mocs won both of their games, and I got to shoot alongside the Ray Soldano here at Frost Stadium. Thanks for watching. Have a great one. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.